What's up, friends, and welcome to this week's DRW live Facebook group. I'm Deanna Williams. I am the podcaster of DRW. We just finished our entire series of Black in Nature, and we're getting ready to move into a new series. And I'm going to have a very special guest in this next podcast series. It's my 11-year-old daughter, which you'll probably kind of see her in the background here, but it is what it is. Um, that's the kitchen in the back. But I just want to welcome you all to this week. And I have a couple of announcements. So I'm looking at my notes. I always have notes. Um, okay, so this week you all probably noticed two video uploads. My regular City Chicks video that typically is uploaded on Monday. So, of course, there will be a new episode coming out tomorrow. I will tell you, this is probably my favorite. It's my favorite episode for a number of reasons. When you guys see it, I think you'll get the point, but I'll have to talk about it next week. But, anyways, it's one of my favorite episodes. And then this week, you probably noticed that there was an interview that I did with Rachel Miller about the Little Blue Barn out of Melbourne, Florida. And it was just such a pleasure to talk with her. And if you had an opportunity to look at it either through this platform or YouTube, I welcome you to check it out. These are things that I do after I go live. I do a 3 o'clock interview with someone that's either in early childhood education or in environmental ed. So it's my way of just trying to like elevate voices and just get people out there, because I feel like this is what's happened to me on a number of occasions. People have just been helping me get my voice out there. So I'm just so thankful and humbled by those that have been a part of my life and been a part of my journey. And this is my way of just trying to pay it forward. So, again, if you're in this group, don't be surprised if I send you a messenger or an email of some sort. And don't be surprised if you don't hear it right now. It's, as y'all know, I still work full time. So it's one of those things where I have to plan them out in advance, and I'm doing the best that I can. But please don't think that I haven't thought about you, because I probably already have. Um, it just takes time and scheduling. All right. So if you haven't checked out Rachel Miller's video, please check out her interview. Hello, Sylvie. You already know you're part of the announcement. You're too early. I've already talked about the City Chicks, and the author's perspective is what I want to call it for the podcast. It's the author perspective, and author meaning my daughter. So it's very interesting. I hope you all enjoy it. When you listen to it, it comes out this Thursday. I was super proud of her when we recorded it. As a parent, sometimes you just wonder, like, you just never know. You just never know, or as an aunt or uncle, you just never know what kids are going to create. And I didn't have any expectation. I just said, you tell us these amazing stories about the City Chicks every day. Could you write those down? And she's like, sure. And the sign of the times, or my age, is I was telling her to write them down, and she goes, Mommy, can I like type these up? And I'm like, well, sure, type up your story. So it's interesting to see, like, even at the age of 11, she is accustomed to typing a story versus writing it. And I feel like I'm accustomed to writing things and then typing it. I can do both. I can start things by typing, but it's still very interesting. It's just very interesting to watch. Um, okay, so since Sylvia is already on here, and Sylvia, you're going to have to correct me on our presentation title, because I'm not intentionally butchering it. It's just that what we originally titled our presentation, it was changed a while ago. So, anyhow, in special announcement, I'm so excited that Sylvia and I will be presenting at the NAAE conference on October 16th. I believe it's 2:30 p.m. my time, and we are going to be doing like an open talk, open chat discussion about supporting young children in trauma through nature. And so I'm really excited because this is something I'm very passionate about. Um, I know from my environmental ed, like BFFs, well, some of you guys probably already know that I was doing infant toddler mental health long before I came into environmental ed. But shout out to Sandra. Sandra, you know who you are. Jackie and Amy, y'all know who you are too. Because these are my buddies that keep me grounded when it comes to infant toddler mental health and early childhood mental health. And we've all been doing this work for a really long time, but I'm just excited to bring this work. And I know it's been an environmental ed, so I don't want to sound like Sylvia and I are like cracking some sort of special code, but it's something that her and I are both equally passionate about. And when we got to present on this topic through Natural Start Alliance this summer, it was just, I could tell, and when you start talking about trauma, and you part of talking about it is like you have to do some, there has to be a level of trust, I feel like, with the person you're presenting with. And so although Sylvia and I are friends, there's just certain things, even within friendships, it takes time to have those conversations. And so it was really great to have the vulnerability to talk about something we're passionate about, and then support it with research to help people understand like this is a real thing. And so, from my perspective, from someone that's worked with kids with trauma off and on, well, I wouldn't even say off, always on. Um, I've always known as soon as I understood what outdoor learning was about, I was thinking the first thing I thought about was kids need to get outside. I really think this will help impact them and change them and make them to be a better person if they could just be outside. So I know I'll speak for myself. I won't speak for Sylvia, but that's like the ultimate goal. And I'm not saying like that is the only answer for all kids, but it's another option. So that's what I wanted to say. And hello to whoever has come on. Well, they came on and then they popped off, but hello anyway. But Sylvia, did I say that right? I hope I did. And Sylvia, let me just say this. Do not come for me quite yet because my bio, I thought, so let me just backtrack. We had a deadline to upload our bios for the conference, right? And I'm trying to upload it. Yes, she says yes, exactly. Nature brings us so much healing. Exactly. So on Friday, I'm trying to upload my bio, but I'm like, it won't let me change my email address. Like, I don't know what's going on, but they have this really cool app that they're using for all the presenters and I believe for all the attendees as well. And I'm like, why is someone else's information here? And then I look at the topic and I'm like, I don't even know what topic this is. But I didn't think anything of it. I said, okay, I'm just going to follow the rules and click save and whatever else. So then I'm talking with Sylvia and I go, um, I had some issues today. And she tells me the conference has me down for two presentations. And she was like, I didn't know you were part of the special one at the end. And I go, what? So I had a little slight freak out, but thank goodness I sent an email to the organizers, one of the organizers, and I thought when they sent me the link with the new, basically the right presentation format, that it was just going to pull my bio. No, that requires me to go to another app to click and paste the bio. Anyways, it is what it is. So don't hate Sylvia. It's coming. I'll have it done today. It's on my to-do list. So I just wanted to make that special announcement. And then because I've been so consistent about talking about football, that's all I'm going to say. I know my dad doesn't watch this, but if he did, shout out to my mom because she may be watching this. Mom, tell dad I got the cup. That's all he needs to know. Tell him I have the Christmas mug out. And I represent it every week, which is from a brand perspective, it doesn't make any sense, but makes perfect sense. It's college football season. So, shout out. I'm going to take a sip. I have to be consistent because SEC, we're in week 2 of football being out. And it was interesting. I was watching the Georgia game a little bit yesterday. And then I was watching, I'm not an Alabama fan, but I still was watching the games. It is kind of weird though because the conference has decided to have people in the crowd, and it's not their regular standard like 60,000 people, but it's still kind of weird. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, I prefer to see the players with the fake people in the crowd. I don't know. Anyways, that's a whole nother conversation. Hello to whoever just signed on. I have no idea. Drop a comment and maybe I'll see who you are. Okay, so I spent most of the day, okay, in my household, you know how there's spring cleaning? We do what's called fall cleaning. Actually, I'll call it the fall purge. I call it the fall purge. We kicked off a little bit sooner because when I switched to higher ed, we do fall break the last week of September. Going, hey, Miss Marion, howdy to you. Usually my fall break, if I was still in public ed, it was sorry. Sylvia says the fake people in the crowd are pretty hilarious. They are, but I'm like, that seems more normal. Like it just represents the times. So when I see people in the crowd, it makes me think like, oh, well, I should be out and about doing something. When in reality, it's like, no, you're still in a pandemic. That hasn't changed. Um, but anyways, because I have fall break sooner, I feel like fall purging happens sooner than what I'm used to. And so we started the fall purge. And the reason why we do it, I mean, like I said, we do this spring break, like spring cleaning type thing in the spring, but we do the purge and the fall cleaning. We do all of that. All of that happens pretty much, I feel like the month of, in our case, it's like the month of October. So it starts with either furniture, things that we have too much of something, whatever it is. Um, and to be honest, I think partly it's because usually, typically, we would travel for the holidays to visit with our family, and we would come back with so much stuff. It's like, where are we going to put all this stuff? So it's just really interesting. So Sylvia said, "Don't become a cardboard cutout, my friend." Listen, I may need to be a cardboard cutout in order to actually be at the game. Because I could never. Here's the deal. My cousin, who is not on social media, so I'm not going to say her name, her and I, we're rivals. We're like sisters, but we're legit cousins. But she is a Clemson fan, but she lives in Columbia, South Carolina. Don't even ask. We're not, my dad and I, anyways, that's all I'm going to say. But we would love to go to a rival game, which typically happens Thanksgiving weekend. So that might be the only way I show up, though, Sylvia, is a cardboard. Take a picture with me with a cup. And I'm just in the stands like this. I don't know. Um, so, anyways, we've been, instead of hanging out and doing some sort of Williams family adventure, which I'm not going to lie, we've been able to do quite a few adventures in the month of September. So it's like, okay, we got to take care of the house, you know? And so the whole point of me bringing this up is I was reminded this week, and I can't remember which platform it was on, and it probably was one of my, probably one of the groups that I followed. But somebody was doing a Facebook Live, and they reminded me it's the fourth quarter. And honestly, it wasn't that particular group that reminded me because it's been mentioned, I feel like several times. It's the fourth quarter of the year. And I'm sitting here going, yeah, it's October 1. It's the fourth quarter. And so it made me reflect on what did I do in the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, and what are the plans for the fourth quarter? So I guess that's my question for you all. Have you thought about the first, second, and third quarter? Have you thought about the first three quarters of the year? And have you thought about what are you going to do in the fourth quarter? And how are you moving forward? You know? And so I took some notes in my reflections and I was thinking about the first quarter. I was all jazzed up because I had did so much prep for my spring courses. I was like, yes, I'm going to be great. It's not going to be an issue. I was teaching a class like completely online pre-COVID, So I was like, yes, we've got everything laid out. I'm great. We're ready, right? And I had the right schedule. I was commuting about 2 to 3 days a week as opposed to like 3 to 4 days a week. And I didn't have to spend so many nights away from home. I mean, I was down to one night anyway, but I was just like, okay, I feel like I'm at a manageable schedule for me, my family, and Outback was still in person. So I'm like, Outback was good. We are meeting our 2 days out of the week. I had just gotten a new kiddo. Actually, I got two. And so that was exciting too. I had two new little guys. They were little. One was just turning 3, but fully potty trained. And the other little guy was about 3.5. So just having, it's the beginning of 2020. It was something new. So I had just this new refresh like energy, and and just ready to take on the year. There were just so many goals that I had like sought out on what I was going to be doing with Outback in the fall. I was just like, okay, we're gonna amp it up. We're gonna have more kids. I was talking about doing a summer camp, just something to give back to the community. Hello to the third person who just signed on. Drop your name in the comments so that I know who you are. And hello to the fourth person. I have no idea who you are, but hello, welcome. And so I was really excited. And um, this is kind of funny. In the first quarter, so if you know me, you'll know that I'm a bit of a traveler and I love a good concert. I love a concert. And you know what? Google did a great job to remind me. A year ago, I was seeing India Ari. Love her music, love her. But in the first quarter, my husband and I went to, so I don't know, in your towns or cities, you may have this option, but we had to go to Tucson for this. They had an R&B like slow jams concert. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, John B's going to be there. I got to go. Frankie J's going to be there." Shout out to all of my peeps in San Antonio cuz you already know that's all we heard back in the day. And there were a couple of other artists that were going to be there too. Amanda Perez, another old school, like I feel like old school artist because she came out like 20 years ago. So I was all excited. We went to the concert. It was great. It was like the end of February. And within 2 weeks of that concert, it was like our life went completely upside down. We had a medical emergency on my husband's side, like with him. And then in the midst of that, like I couldn't go to work because I was taking care of him. And then by that following week, it was spring break. And I knew at that point, spring break had been extended to 2 weeks as opposed to 1 week. And suddenly I was teaching online, everything online. So that's how I slid into the second quarter. It was the crisis planning. This is how you function. So it was myself, my husband working from home, my daughter going to school online. It just happened just like that. Outback shut down. I was giving out care packages to parents, all the like materials that I had that planned for the rest of the quarter. Um, I gave it to them. And the last time I met with the kids, we went to a local nature center. That was our field trip was the last time we all connected. That's how I slid into second quarter. So second quarter, anything, shout out to Summer Institute, to Sarah and Allie, because that's when I felt like I was in this space of like we were trying to navigate how to put an entire institute online. So that's what I felt like I was spending a lot of time preparing for that. And then after a while, there was something else. I'm a part of AAE, and we kind of had this weird space where it wasn't so much unknown, but we just didn't know like what was going on because it was just like we're gonna shut down for 2 weeks, and that 2 weeks turned into 2.5 months. So by mid-May, we were still kind of shut down for the most part here in Arizona. By early June, the cases went up. So by the time the third quarter hit, talk about staying home. We didn't do, I feel we did a lot of things this summer, but it wasn't outside of the four walls of this home. That's what I will tell you. But this summer was by far the third quarter. I've worked hard. Y'all know I've worked in social work and I worked with kids in behavioral health for years. Felt like years. Um, so I spent, because of the events of what was going on, a lot of things that I'm a part of, all of our energy shifted towards that. Not that we weren't already doing the work, but it was like we took a hard fast turn and said this is what we're going to do. So my summer consisted of training myself to teach completely online while going through equity and inclusion trainings and trying to be a voice within those spaces as well. Sylvia and I presented for Natural Start. We did a pre recording in June. I was advocating for early childhood. Summer Institute happened in June. Um, a lot of things happened in the third quarter. A lot of amazing professional things happen, and then personally, just the things that have been going on. It was impacting in its own way, but it was strange because we were all home. So that's how the third quarter that's how the third quarter has been. And of course, the semester has started. Outback is not going, and I launched the DRW brand, and a podcast was birthed out of this experience. So my question to you all is, what are you thinking about doing in the fourth quarter? And if my memory serves me right, I believe at Summer Institute, not that I put a call out, I'm not saying like I put a call out to people, but I remember saying at some point, as environmental educators, what are you doing to help your community? And what I really meant by that is, how are you advocating? Not saying you have to carry the burden, but like, what can you do to help people, whether it's your neighbor, whether it's joining a committee? What are you doing to try to help people get outside? What are you doing? How are you helping kids? And just because a lot of people, we're experts in what we do, you know, um, and we have that knowledge. So how are we sharing that with people? And so I ask you all, not just as environmental educators, but just in general, what are you going to do moving into the fourth quarter? As you know, the fourth quarter, we got Halloween. And if you celebrate, well, let me not list holidays because it'll be one-sided perspective. So the holidays that my family and I normally gather for is Thanksgiving or Christmas. And now that's in question. I don't know if we're doing all of that. Um, so I don't know. Like, how are you going to get through the fourth quarter? That's my question for you all today. And that's what I would like you all to kind of reflect on. What are you doing to move forward? Are you thinking about launching a new business? Are you thinking about launching a group in Facebook? What are you thinking about doing? How can you help people? Because I can tell you, people, in spite of the world and what we're living in, people want some good in their life too, you know? And so, what can you do to contribute to that space if you just feel like it? But, anyways, so that's my thoughts for today. Um, I'm not gonna like hold you guys hostage for 49 minutes and 49 seconds like I did last week, because boy, that was my mom, bless her heart. She was like, I thought it was gonna be short. She always thinks they're gonna be short, and I'm like, they're normally supposed to be 30 minutes. And even for me, 49 was pushing it. Um, I know I like to talk. I don't have a problem with talking, clearly. But I need to honor people's time. And I do know people can click off and click on. So it doesn't make a difference. But I thank you guys for just showing up and just being a part of this community. And I hope during the week that just the different messages or whatever I'm putting out, that it just brings a smile to your face and makes you, just brings it, I don't know, brings you some sort of joy, you know? That's what I hope for. And that's it. I don't have anything else. I try to keep it short and sweet. I'm at 24 minutes, so I think I'm doing good. Sylvia or Miriam, are you guys still on? I don't know who's still on, but whoever's still on, did you want to type anything into the chat? I feel kind of stuffy today. And this time I'm like paying attention. Let me take that back. I always pay attention to the chat. I'm just making sure I scroll through the chat. I'm not always good at the scroll, which is the bad part, is the scrolling. So, oh, it's Miriam. Awesome. I don't know if you had anything to say. I wonder if you had anything to say in the comments. If not, I'm just going to sign off. I'll see you all next Sunday at 2 o'clock, same time, same place. And at some point in the month of November, it will no longer be 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It'll be 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Because as you all know, in the state of Arizona, I shouldn't say the whole entire state because there are parts of the state that do change their time. But where I reside, we don't change our time. So which is great for my family that lives in Central and East Coast time because I'm no longer calling people at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Um, it'll be 9 and 10 o'clock at night, which is better for them. So, anyways, thank you guys for showing up this week, and I'll see you in a week. Be blessed in nature, friends.